Hello everyone, so this video is just going to be an overview of our first major project, which is 15% of your final grade, as well as a minimum of 900 words. Where you can find the information about this major assignment is on Blackboard. You'll find, of course, this video, but everything else that accompanies the major assignment, such as rubrics, the guidelines that I'll be kind of paraphrasing today in this video, peer review materials, things like that, if we do peer review, things like that. So if you click on lessons and projects, and then you click on project information, what you'll see is that there's project number 1, which is our first essay, a Burkean dialogue screenplay, which of course is one of my favorite assignments to teach. And in that folder, you're going to see the project number 1 guidelines, and that hopefully will be just kind of a tool for you in conjunction with anything else I put in that folder to help you gain a better understanding of that assignment, right? So my goal is to kind of provide you with a conjunction of different materials throughout the course of the semester to help broaden your understanding of how to best adhere to the expectations of the assignment that is 15% of your grade. So the goal of this assignment is, of course, kind of in conjunction with this course. We are meant to review and build upon the information literacy skills that you developed in English 111, whether you took that at Wake Tech or elsewhere, to locate and evaluate disciplinary research in various fields, right? So some key words there to keep in mind about this assignment would be that you're going to A, locate, and B, evaluate, right? Multidisciplinary, meaning from different fields of study, disciplinary, right? Research. I'm thinking ahead to our second assignment, right? So just from one field of study, of course, you want to kind of stay within a field that hopefully is of interest to you. So that's something that I noted on the guidelines. Keep in mind that you want to kind of become an active participant in a knowledge exchange that's already going on, right? In a discourse community that already exists, and contribute something that's considered valuable, right? That's considered worthwhile, that's considered scholarly and academic. And of course, there's a multitude of ways you will do that. If you look at the rubrics that are assigned to and go hand in hand with the papers, you'll see that they kind of remind you of a lot of the mechanical facets of the assignment, right? So making sure that you use appropriate academic language, appropriate tone. That's, of course, extremely important, but so is showing that you're able to review and locate and evaluate web sources, right? Making sure that you're able to show MLA proficiency, and then, of course, what I'd call a sense of metacognitive reflection. So you are going to not only for this assignment engage with any topic that you want to, which I'll talk about in just a second, but you're also going to immerse yourself into that conversation, which hopefully will excite you, because of course only you are the expert on what you think, feel, believe, have experienced, but also on the way that you feel about the research that you're going to be engaging with, right? The scholarship or credible sources that you're going to be engaging with. So, what is your rhetorical situation? For project number 1, we will focus on the genre of the academic research paper, one of the most high-stakes genres in college. So your theme is going to be diversity, which of course is broadly defined. So that's kind of why I chose that theme for this assignment, because really there's a lot of freedom there to work with a topic of interest, right? So anything from police brutality could be considered diverse to online learning, right? Something like, let's see, abortion, right? That's still diverse. So what you kind of want to think about is I can, of course, will be sending, right, some lists, topic lists down that narrow down rather topics for you out. But you want to be kind of thinking about, well, what is a highly controversial topic, right? Because that's really what you want to think about is a topic that's highly controversial and how and in what way that topic speaks to you, okay? And how and in what way different sources actually engage themselves into a conversation about that topic, right? So what you'll see is you'll, of course, by using the diversity theme, you'll situate yourself within scholarship. So the scholarship conversation of a topic of your choosing, instead of writing a traditional research proposal or an annotated bibliography, okay? So what you're doing is you're actually finding 4 different sources that are making arguments or an argument, and some of them, they might just be making one argument about your highly controversial or diverse topic. And you want to kind of situate yourself as the scholar in terms of how you feel, right, about those conversations at hand, what is going on within the context of the research. I've noted that you will have dialogue with your 3 to 4, I'm going to encourage 4 academic sources. And you want to have, let's say, 2 articles that are definitely from the library databases published within the last few years, we'll say 2 to 3 years. Beyond that, it would be a good idea. Maybe, of course, you could still use more database articles, but if you're struggling to find enough, right, it might also be a good idea to then branch out and think about .org, .gov, .edu sites, which of course are just accessed in the public domain and readily and easily accessible. Just go to Google, right? Search for your topic, see what kind of conversations are out there. And on those .org, .gov, .edu sites, a lot of times there will actually be article links, right, to articles that are hopefully useful. You will make sure, right? So by dialogue, what that means is that you should be kind of drawing your sources parallel to one another when and if needed, right? So if there are sources that are making similar arguments, of course, you can draw similarities to those. If there are some that are making differences, you might point out those differences. But what matters the most, of course, is going to be the way that you situate yourself within the conversation. So you want to kind of be making sure that you maintain a dialogue with your sources and represent your arguments, you want to represent, I'd say, first and foremost, the arguments in your 4 sources, right? And then situate yourself in the paper by discussing your own ideas and responses, which of course should be done throughout, right? Your responses can be integrated throughout the paper, and that's going to be the best way to do it, as opposed to having, let's say, 3 points from sources, and then that are in 3 paragraphs back to back to back, and then 3 paragraphs back to back to back about your opinion. That wouldn't be effective, right? It's best to immerse your opinion, in other words, synthesize, which means kind of merge your ideas together, right? Everything together into one paragraph. And of course, each paragraph you want to aim for being maybe 7 to 8 sentences, okay, for this assignment. When you are looking at the guidelines as well, you'll see I've said, therefore, your screenplay should have the following characters. You, right? So your opinion matters here. However, do not use me, don't use my, do not use I, okay? So something I like to make extremely clear is just, it will be obvious that the ideas within the paper are indeed your opinionated reflections on the scholarship without using I. So in other words, a statement like, I believe guns should be outlawed actually reads stronger if you just state guns should be outlawed as the argumentative scholar, because we know that the idea is attributed to you, okay? What you'll see as well is that I've just kind of bulleted a note about how your authors should be from 4 different peer-reviewed academic sources published within the last 3 years. Of course, you can go within the guidelines, though, that I mentioned. If you've got those 2 of scholarly sources, and then you decide, well, it would actually be in my own best interest to use, let's say, sources from a .org.gov.edu site, that would be perfectly okay as well. What you'll see in conjunction with that then is just some information, and I did want to kind of go over that just in some different terms and reiterate some of these ideas here. So your screenplay should enable your reader to identify your research topic and its narrow the way that you narrowed down, right, the claim, right? So I'm going to say identify your research topic and its narrow claim, as opposed to what I'd call a broad focus. Your audience also should be able to be familiar with the summaries of the source's arguments. So what we're focused on there in terms of summary is how your sources are making arguments, right? You're not summarizing everything about your sources. You're summarizing the arguments that are relevant to the paper, okay? So don't get lost in summarizing random ideas that have to do with your articles, or ideas that are in the article that don't really have anything to do with your thesis. And of course, you do want to have a 3-point thesis. Okay, a 3-point thesis with 3 points about whatever your diverse topic is that you back, okay, and that of course are proven in research. You will see too that your audience should be able to understand the intertextual links and connections between your sources. So they should be able, as I was saying before, to see where your sources kind of overlap, where they're similar, as well as where those sources are different. They should be able to understand as well what your contribution is, or your potential contribution rather, to the scholarly discourse and the stakes of doing research on your topic. In other words, right, I've said the topic itself needs to be diverse. It's highly controversial. So you want to answer that, so what, right? Who cares? Why does it matter? So if you're writing about something like deforestation, why should we care? Right, that this topic is written about, and why should we care if it's not solved, right? We want to kind of know why we should be paying attention to the topic at hand, etc. So that needs to be really addressed, I would say, both at the start and finish of the assignment. And we'll actually complete a pre-writing, which of course will force you to answer those questions. And then you'll get feedback from me, which hopefully will be useful throughout the writing process. I've mentioned here that you should integrate multiple types of evidence, such as primary and secondary. So for example, library research, you might find interviews from the databases, you might find questionnaires, you might find observations or cultural artifacts to support your writing goals. I also said that it is permitted to cite .org, .gov, of course, and .edu websites, but be sure to cite any, anything else from those library database articles, and everything should be within the last 3 years from those database articles. Do not forget to include a works cited page, which should be formatted alphabetically within the same document as your essay, of course, but on its own page in proper MLA style. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know, but I do hope that this video was useful and that it provides a little bit of clarity for you on the assignment. And I'm always happy within reason to look over parts of assignments. Just make sure you don't ask me to last minute, right? Because then I can't ensure that I have enough time to give you the feedback that you need. Hopefully this video was helpful, and I hope everyone has a good rest of the day.